YouTube, man? It's your boy Slimy Nate, and today, man, we got another reaction video, man. So I've been hearing about his name, like recently a lot, and I've been wondering, like, bro, this dude is literally taking over football right now, and I just literally see every single post I see on Instagram has literally just been about him. So it literally made me question how good is Viktor. What's that dude's name? Gyökeres. Okay, I think that's how you say it. But yeah, so basically I'm just trying to know how good he really is, and if you guys know how good he is, let me know in the comments down below so you can, you know what I'm saying, like, fill me up on this. Pause, hold on. But yeah, so we finna react to this new player that's taking over the scenes, man. Let's get it. Hope you guys like, subscribe, and get me to 300. Thank y'all.
Some footballers walk onto the pitch with talent so undeniable that they've been recognized since their earliest years and just seem to be natural superstars.
Yeah,
Some
Santos
others
Neymar
walk
was
onto the
different.
pitch, perhaps without all the accolades, but with a narrative or hype surrounding them, only to end up more focused on the celebrity lifestyle and money and disregard putting in the work on the pitch. But some players walk onto the pitch with a chip on their shoulders, out of the spotlight and coming from nothing, but wanting
I ain't gonna lie,
prove
Ronaldo's story is
everything. They fire
inspirational.
and drive inside them so intense that nothing less than 100% dedication and hard work is acceptable in their
like
quest
Ronaldo
to reach the top. For the few, thankfully, everything works out. But for the overwhelming majority, sometimes it just isn't enough. Injuries, lack of opportunity, never being surrounded in a good environment, or simply not being good enough are only a few of the mountain of hurdles it takes to make it to the top of the footballing world. Because imagine dedicating your entire life to reaching the highest levels in football, but just when it seems like you're close to achieving that, the doors of opportunity are repeatedly slammed shut in front of your face. Despite having the talent to compete with the best of your generation at the highest level, you were always relegated into smaller teams in lesser leagues. You spent nearly 9 years of your entire career grinding it out in the depths of the second division in different leagues, but still it seems like the opportunity to make it to the next step just never comes. And after everything, you're left with no option but to become the villain. And that's exactly what Viktor Gyökeres did. When Sporting gave him the slightest chances to prove himself, the club took a massive gamble to bring him on, and Gyökeres grabbed it with everything he had and proved he could be one of the very best, going on to shock the footballing world with an insane 43 goals and 15 assists in 50 matches.
What?
Suddenly, everyone started.
Hold on. These stats are crazy.
And 15 assists in 50.
Is that his, like, first season, or what is this? Hold on.
50 matches. Suddenly, everyone started to hear whispers of a Swedish monster slowly being formed in the Primera Liga. Some began to believe early. Most had complete doubt, saying things like Farmers League or no competition, while the rest, admittedly myself included, still waited to see a bit more. He has a lot of potential, but can he do it again? Can he do it against the very best? All the sentiment and criticism was there, but truly none of that mattered, because all he needed was a spark, just a small ember to ignite the flame and begin his journey to the top. Because after all, nobody cared who Viktor Gyökeres was until he put on the mask. To me, there's just always something beautiful about an underdog story. In the world of modern football, where it seems like a lot of young players have lost their hunger and drive. Someone with a chip on their shoulder who might not have started out with the best conditions, but still doesn't stop trying to reach the
That celebration is tough,
That's
though.
exactly the kind of player that Viktor Gyökeres is. But when you look at him now, a lot of you might wonder just why did nobody notice him before? And the reason behind that, admittedly, is a lot more complicated. Gyökeres was never the player who came from a dominant footballing nation, nor was he scouted at a young age by top clubs with top development opportunities. He was a footballer born from the cold, someone who had to claw his way up to where he is now. A guy who's always been at the mercy of his earlier clubs, having to do whatever they needed him to do. Not to shine or take the spotlight, but just get by enough to make his managers happy, follow the system, or do whatever he could to help his club win.
That's a goal.
He always supported his teammates and followed instructions. If that meant having to track back to help press and regain possession, being forced to hold the ball for a little bit and act as a playmaker, or even going out wide to open up the pitch and cross the ball into the box, Viktor would do it. In hindsight, it's what helps attribute to his overall game, as today he's much more than a one-dimensional striker. But we'll get to that, because in 2015, playing for AF Brahma-Poikina, nobody knew who he was, despite how much he did for his team and how much potential he had. The worst thing was that nobody was watching. What Gyökeres must have felt during those first few years compared to where he wanted to be must have been torment, knowing you could do more, but being forced to be limited to your current situation. If only Gyökeres had access to the entire global football, or could connect with clubs anywhere at the time to unlock his full potential.
What do y'all think he's gonna go to? Madrid or Barca or like any club?
It would take him years to eventually
Where
do
do y'all
so.
think he would fit?
You can unlock your internet's full potential with today's sponsor, ExpressVPN Reach. So not only BALLON units, Nosy Express by Clean and ExpressDigitalPan.com partners with nobody really watching. It would allow him as a younger guy to get a lot more playing opportunity. At first, he wouldn't play much, but within the 4 National Cup matches he played, he would end up scoring 3 goals in the tournament. But that didn't really matter because his club, EF Brahma-Poikina, was, for lack of a better term, complete buns, and they would get relegated to the Swedish 3rd division. But with seemingly nothing else to lose, being the youngest player, they would begin to give him more frequent starts, as Gyökeres would help his club win promotion out of the 3rd division and back to the 2nd division. Now, at 19 years old, Gyökeres had given the management enough confidence to make him a permanent starter. And that would be the club's absolute saving grace. He would score 13 goals in 19 matches and help his club claw their way back up to the Swedish 1st division.
Damn,
essentially, the club had put a teenage Gyökeres in front of their attack and relied on him to climb from the 3rd division all the way back up to the spotlight of Swedish football. But what would he get in return? Well, his club would look to ship him out at the earliest opportunity they could find. But for Gyökeres, it would be a blessing in disguise. He would be scouted by Brighton, who, despite their lack of financial resources, are actually quite skilled in finding foreign talent and hidden gems. Guys like Kaoto Mitoma being the perfect example. And they definitely saw something in the young Swedish striker. However, the move wouldn't exactly be what Gyökeres had expected. Instead of finally making his debut in the bright lights of the Premier League, Brighton would put him in their under-23 squad, having to wait much longer to move up to the first team. Regardless, Gyökeres continued to put his head down, work hard, and try to prove himself. His first season would see him scoring 10 goals in 7 Premier League 2 appearances, which is essentially where Premier League clubs play the reserve or younger players against each other, which is a lot different from the Championship. His second season in the Premier League 2 would see 12 goals in 27 appearances. Decent, but not the best. But instead of any glimmer of hope, despair would come again, because he would find himself in a very familiar situation, as Brighton would send him on loan to FC St. Pauli in Bundesliga's 2nd division, once more forced to help a struggling team make it through the ranks, with potential for more. But being employed only to resurrect to forgotten lower league teams. And while this strategy worked for the clubs, it was disastrous for his early career. He would have 11 goal contributions in 28 matches, which isn't terrible, but wasn't enough for Brighton to bring him on fully into the first team. But realistically, I mean, what else would you expect from a striker who kept being moved around without ever getting time to fully adjust or maintain a consistent environment and team chemistry? In the 2020-21 season, he would only make 3 appearances for Brighton's first team, where he'd have a total of 2 goal contributions. I mean, 2 goal contributions in 3 matches definitely isn't bad. But Brighton would once more ship him out on loan, this time to Swansea in the Championship. That move, however, would be disastrous. He would only have a single goal in 12 appearances, making him look like a complete flop. But if you think about it this way, that was his 4th squad in 4 years, after just recently having his dreams shattered, despite making a very good but brief run in the Premier League. At least psychologically, it only makes sense he would do so poorly. The loan would come to an end after Swansea would terminate his contract mid-season.
Terminate is crazy,
that would look like the end of their careers. But quitting wasn't an option for Gyökeres.
Hey, nobody cared until I put the mask on. Facts.
After returning from loan, he would become dead inside, no longer having any hopium about playing for Brighton, fully expecting the reality of him being shipped out once more. Because with the shift in mentality, now is the start of his rise from the mud.
Oh, that's where it all starts.
Hustle and fire inside of the Swedish striker, contracting him on loan for one last chance at Championship football. Despite only scoring 3 goals in the brief last few months of the season, in training and in every moment inside the pitch, club management saw that hunger and drive inside Gyökeres. Tracking back, playmaking, doing all these small and often intangible things that show a player's winning mentality. They were so convinced that he would turn turn into something great. And they
Bro,
decided
defender,
to
what are you
fully sign him.
doing?
In his first full season with Coventry,
Defender
he'd
could have
go on to
easily
have
stopped
23
that.
goal contributions in 47 matches.
What?
Now with a newfound confidence and actually setting up the squad to help better attack and score, a monster was slowly being formed inside of Gyökeres.
Hey.
Because the very next season, he would go on to have 34 goal contributions in 50 matches.
What?
Not missing a single fixture. This would earn him 2 Player of the Month awards and inclusions into the EFL Team of the Year and the Championship's PFA Team of the Year. Gyökeres would also help carry Coventry to a near Premier League promotion, just barely making it into the Championship playoff. Sadly, it would be Luton Town to knock them out after a narrow penalty shootout win. Because imagine
That's
the hype
tough.
around him if he had managed to bring a club like Coventry all the way to the Premier League, instead of it having been Luton Town. Regardless, many Premier League teams came knocking, but Gyökeres had enough. He wasn't about to sign with a bigger Premier League side, just for them to not play him and get shipped around again. Nor was he signing with the many bottom half clubs that wanted him, and risk being relegated all to just once more try and drag them back up again. He wanted to become so undeniable that big clubs all over the world would have no option but to bring him on as their top choice. And when Sporting reached out to him and they showed him that they knew his potential and they would help him succeed as a player to show the world the talent that they've been sleeping on for so many years, the deal was as good as done.
Hey,
And in
bro,
Sporting,
that's where
we
it
see
all
just how much of
starts.
a monster Gyökeres has become, scoring an insane 45 goals and 5 assists in 50 matches, showcasing his mask celebration to the world, letting them know about his journey and struggles. Despite that, a lot of people would still doubt, putting off the Premier League's quality and citing a lack of evidence against stronger teams. But people would see it very soon, as his dominance in helping Sporting winning the Portuguese League Cup and being crowned with the Primeira Liga title. Gyökeres would soon be showing what he could do in the Champions League.
What
But
a
just
goal,
watching
bro.
him
That's a
play,
banger.
it's obvious that unique combination of physicality, tactical intelligence, fearless and lethal finishing, and insane work rate and drive, added with his physically imposing frame, blistering pace, and relentless stamina. Gyökeres has become a monster of a striker. Again, even still willing to track back down, win possession, play make, and selflessly assist.
He can do
To
everything.
me, Gyökeres has what it takes to become a world-class striker. And now we see him in the 2024-25 season with 24 goals and 4 assists in 20 matches.
Damn,
Stronger
bro.
sides outside of Portugal in the Champions League with 5 goals and 5 appearances, including that dominant hat-trick against Man City. I dare say making Holland look
Hat-trick,
lackadaisical
bro.
compared to that hunger inside of Gyökeres.
Look
It was
at
enough for
Haaland,
me to
bro.
be a believer in his potential. Sure, they would lose 5-1 to Arsenal, but with just a single point away from guaranteed next round placement for Sporting and an upcoming match against Club Brugge, don't be surprised if Viktor Gyökeres is a name that we'll continue to be hearing about and admiring more and more in the coming future.
Hey, bro, like, hold on, bro. I won't even be surprised if he scores next game, bro, because this dude is literally taking over my Instagram feed, bro. This guy's taking over the world, bro. I literally can't scroll on Instagram without seeing this dude's name or a picture or his celebration, bro. I could tell, bro, you know what I'm saying? I could tell, bro, the talent, bro. But he kind of low-key remind me of, like, I want to say Haaland, bro. That could like, actually dribble. You know what I'm saying? Like, good ball control. But yeah, man, bro, his story's inspirational, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so that's the end of the video, man. Shout out Raymar, and hopefully you guys like, subscribe, and get me to 300 subscribers, man. Yup. Yeah, slaminate out, man. Peace.